very land that the future of Sanatana Hindu Dharma would be revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. In the year 2002, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had after searching for more than 1 year, the disciples of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had found this land and immediately rushed to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that the land that he had a vision of was finally revealed. And in so many different ways, even the landowner had a dream that Paramashiva should had a dream of Paramashiva telling him that he should give this land to his own form, his own incarnation, who is in the form of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So the entire Leela played out, where finally on the 1st of January 2003, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had celebratorily inaugurated the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham. And in this very land, so many different services began to immediately start, whether it is Annadhan, the revival of the Hindu temples, the Sacred Arts University, the Nithyananda Annalaya. Every single different department of Kailasa began in this very sacred space. With the super conscious energy that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had consecrated in so many different forms in this land. So without further ado, I'd like to invite the administrators of the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham, Ma Nitya Achalananda Swami and Ma Nitya Prana Priyananda, to explain in detail about the history, the contributions of the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham in brief, and then please tell us about the subsequent attacks against the Adinam of Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham. Now, we'll be continuing on with this segment of today's program of the persecution and attacks against the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham after a very quick break.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham.
Nithyananda. Welcome back to all of the viewers. Joining with me now is Ma Nitya Achalananda Swami to present the persecution against the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham today. Also here is Ma Nitya Prana Priyananda. Now, yes, thank you, Ma. We had just finished the presenting to each and everyone about the Kailasa COVID care centers that is ongoing right now. The most impactful solutions to the ongoing pandemic. And on contrast, today we are presenting what has happened against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham. So I'd like to invite both of you respectfully to please narrate about how this started from 2010 and how Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham, as the ship which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had really worked for 2 decades, more than 2 decades, to build up, how it remained as basically one of the places where the brute force was executed by the anti-Hindu militant forces.
Yes, actually, to kind of recap, the Adi Kailasa ship, as Bhagwan said and as Devi Parashakti revealed, was in construction, literally to speak, for more than a decade. Literally, as we know, the ship was planned for this oncoming pralaya. And had it not been for the really unfortunate event of the anti-Hindu militant terrorists literally driving away the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism into statelessness and exiling him into statelessness, we would really have had probably this pralaya not even being felt by humanity. Yes, whatever course of events or distant may have happened, but it probably would have been with as minimal impact as possible to humanity. And we all know, as Devi again and again is repeating with so much of care and concern, as what one would say, that even though captain is not there, the ship is there. And as Bhagwan also said, and as Devi said, if the Padayatra that was planned for 2020, all the way from Kanyakumari to the northern tip of Bharat and Kashmir, if that had happened, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, along with his 10,000 sannyasis, visiting all the pilgrimage places, the sacred places, and if that had happened, then whatever karma, the negative karma accumulated collectively by humanity, by the abuse we have all done to Bhuma Devi, to the planet Earth, would have been mitigated or washed away had the holy feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, been there on this space and place of Bharat. Surely the Kirmi Bhojanam, the Naraka, would not have been able to land on this planet. Because as the Shastra Pramanas also say, as long as enlightened beings, avatars, incarnations are alive and assume their body again and again on planet Earth, the planet Earth will be alive. And if that tradition, if that happening is broken, then planet Earth cannot survive. So it's a very simple logic, so to speak, in that. And all it needed was the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to be here on this, in this place of Bharat, and we would have been seeing a completely different face of the corona pandemic. And what really took, how this whole space of Adi Kailasa, the Adi Kailasa ship, the pristine beginnings from the ancient times, one should really have a glimpse of it to see what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has done to make this beautiful Adi Kailasa ship happen, right from the time of supervising down to the last detail. The divine deities, Nithyanandeshwara, Nithyanandeshwari, who occupy the Garbha Mandir in the Adi Kailasa Sarvadipitha, to energizing to the Kodi Padayatra, which had a crore, that is 10 million eyes, having the darshan of the living Achavataras of Nithyanandeshwara, Nithyanandeshwari, all this, when one sees only, one can really understand the depth of the statement that Devi Parashakti revealed. That is, Adi Kailasa ship that I was working to make happen through her Nijavatara Nithyananda, and how that Adi Kailasa ship has evolved, and what it took, literally his, for lack of better words, sweat and blood and energy and everything poured into this happening. Let us see just this visual representation of these humble beginnings of Adi Kailasa Sarvati Pitha.
Yes, Ma. And I also wanted to even mention how not only in the amount of sacred sciences that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revived in this land through the consecration of the Garbha and the revival of the deity worship and the consecration of Nithyanandeshwara, Nithyanandeshwari, Vaidya Sarovar, and the making literally of the Navapashana 20-foot tall, 21-foot tall Navapashana linga, as well as the consecration of Mahakala Bhairava at the front gate. Not only this, but also creating a hub where so many thousands of people every single year would be coming and having literally a super conscious breakthrough.
And as one saw, that was a very brief story in pictures, so to speak, of what the Adi Kailasa Sarvajna Peetham, its inception, its formation, and all the way up till today, when the Adi Kailasa ship is serving as the savior for humanity, especially Indians who have very much reason to be concerned about the oncoming third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm sure all of us, at least most of us, would have been witness to this happening way back in 2006 when this Kodikan Radayatra happened, and much before that, when the preparation for the same happened, as we all saw in the video, the murtis, the idols, the deities of Nithyanandeshwara, Nithyanandeshwari carved directly the first stone that had them embedded directly, the first cut done by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself. And how today the deities, Nithyanandeshwara, Nithyanandeshwari, the Kalpavriksha, the sacred banyan tree, and the 21 feet Navapashana Linga that is gracing the Vaidya Sarovar, and the rare combination of the 1008 Ayurvedic herbs and the Navapashana that went into the making, and how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism actually did the whole guidance of the making of the Navapashana, right from the mixing to the manifestation in the form of the 21 feet Shivalinga. Everything prepared in preparation really for this COVID-19 pandemic that the whole world is facing today. And honestly, as we saw in the previous segments, has no clue how to handle, be it the governments or the non-profit sectors, social service organizations, humanitarian services, everybody at a loss to really see how to curtail and control this pandemic. And as Devi said, the only solution for that is the Adi Kailasa ship and the various de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa across the world. Now, because of this promise, and amongst other things, the promise that Adi Kailasa held for the Adi Kailasa Sarvajna Peetham held for the whole world in the form of either the grace of the temple, the Kalpavriksha, or the Gurukul, which is literally the incubator of special beings, as Bhagavan says, who right from their childhood are brought up directly in this divine presence, and hence power manifestation being a way of life for them, to the various ways in which Bhagavan has empowered, especially the women folk, the female bodies, in whether in terms of administration or in temple services, giving them not just equality as a modern world would demand, but really their unique position. And as one saw in the report directly by the United Nations, where it is recognizing the first time an international body like the United Nations recognizing persecution has been done to Hindus and Hinduism. And finally, the world is coming to know of something called persecution done to Hinduism. So, Adi Kailasa Sarvajna Peetham is actually one of the worst hit, I would say, in terms of this persecution, whether it was done on the women folk, or on the Gurukul children, or on the temple, or on the Vaidya Sarovar. This is all on top of the blatant assassination attempts that were done on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, like directly trying to burn him alive in his very own quarters in 2010 in the wake of the video that was spread virally about him, denigrating him, and using that as a justification to literally burn him alive and telecast that live on television. Something that anybody would just be shocked to hear about, that too happening in the so-called 21st century. But that's what Adi Kailasa Sarvajnapeetham has been witness to. And really, this is, on one hand, a standing testimony to the will persistence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in terms of giving to humanity the best that and the ultimate that he keeps giving. And also because of that inspiration derived by the followers, the sannyasis, the monks, the nuns of the sovereign order of Kailasa, also trying to embody in the same in whatever way they can.
Right. Yes, Ma. And we have so much of the footage that was absolutely horrifying to see, even of the charcoal, literally what was left of the places of attack that the anti-Hindu militants had directed their attack, especially the very place where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had his residence, as well as many of the surrounding huts and the surrounding places. Every place was absolutely destroyed. And I actually found it very shocking was when I was hearing about this, reading about what actually happened, that in the media, even up until 20 minutes before the actual attacks, and suddenly when we were witnessing the attacks, the media was already projecting that there was certain attacks going on in the Adinam, and we were receiving phone calls inside of the Adinam saying that, okay, what's going on? And many of us didn't know until 20 minutes later, or just a little bit later, we're seeing suddenly the whole Adinam is on fire, smoke is in the air, and we have absolutely, being on the inside, we had absolutely no idea about it. But somehow in the media, they were already projecting, they were already showing that this was going on. This clearly shows that this was a planned attack, and the media mafia had such strong influence in how they were literally trying to show the entire thing and trying to execute their plans, essentially, in the attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, in this direct assassination attempt against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We were seeing how just this absolutely tragic and devastation that was ongoing on this ancient Hindu kingdom and the Adi Kailasa Sarvajnapeetham, where thousands of people have found peace and found so much of spiritual upliftment, was suddenly set on fire. And so many of the Adinavasis, everyone is running around helter-skelter, not understanding, not knowing what to do, essentially. And as you were sharing even a couple days before, if you could also share about how at that time, what was the immediate response of the of everyone there, and how did we try to navigate in that situation as someone who was actually there during the attack?
Over the last decade, the Adi Kailasa Nithyananda Paramashivam has been attacked by these anti-Hindu elements and anti-Guru Hindu media mafia and the neo-Hindutva elements in multiple ways. They have attacked these monastery complex because this is the source of the whole entire mission that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism took forward to the world, and so many services were all initiated from the Sarvajnapeetham. So they deployed various strategies, including lawfare that happened in 2010, massive character assassination that was done by the media mafia, and sexual assaults conducted on the female monks on various occasions, whether it is in 2020 or 2010 or 2012, in various other occasions. these anti-Hindu elements stormed into the campus, attacked the female monks and assaulted them, making them feel weak, making them feel helpless and shrink. The whole idea that was deployed by these anti-Hindu elements is to marginalize and isolate the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and therefore they can conduct or execute their assassination attempt. So that was a sinister plan, and that continued over the years. Over the time frame of 10 years, this ongoing persecution happened. So whether it is in terms of lawfare or multiple false arrests, illegal arrests, whether it is assaulting the female monks, character assassination, in all ways, in all other ways, these anti-Hindu elements attacked and destroyed this Adi Kailasa Nithyananda Paramashivam. And time and again, due to the persistent efforts of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, with his guidance, the community of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism came together and rebuilt time after time. And every time they rebuilt, these anti-Hindu elements came up with a new strategy, new lawfare, and new persecution attempt and tried to destroy it. That is what we've been observing for the last 10 years, over the 10 years. And even recently in 2021, now a few months before, a biohazard weapon, biowar weapon was deployed in this Adi Kailasa Nithyananda Paramashivam for destroying the efforts, noble efforts of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in opening his Kailasas as the centers for COVID protection. So especially when India was struggling to meet the demands, whether it is infrastructure-wise or medical needs-wise, so many other ways people were struggling to ensure that they are safe with their family. So at that time, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has opened the doors of Kailasa for people to come and stay and feel safe. So when this noble effort was done by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the Kailasians, when number of people started approaching the Kailasa's COVID care protection centers, that is when the anti-Hindu elements deployed this biowar weapon on the Sarvanyapeetham to destroy these efforts. So this is a very recent news that we are sharing, but this has been the case in many occasions over the last 10 days.
Yes, ma'am. Continuously happening, whether it is in the form of loot and anti-Hindu trying to sneak in and loot the various different resources, including the temple deities, and in the name of investigation, even coming inside and brutally assaulting the Adinavasis, making it unsafe, absolutely hostile place, and continuously after the initial attacks on the 2nd of March 2010, and then the most brutal attack on the 3rd of March 2010. Then after that, and the subsequent days in the following month, as we saw, literally the entire campus was continuously being broadcasted in the media. Even people were trying to implant the various different things that they were trying to claim on us, like, for example, trying to implant illicit drugs and different types of illegal activities, trying to and make it show as if we had things. Then blatantly media trying to show that all these, and lying that all this was going on, and there was so much, there were so many crimes happening on the inside. In these different ways, Adi Kailasa Sarvanyapeetham, even in 2010, had so many false cases filed in the name of even illegal hoarding of sandalwood, illegal possession of tiger skin, and residence on a forest land. All of these were different ways that the media and the media mafia and the anti-Hindu militant forces had literally been attacking in very strategic ways, attacking directly at and ensuring that the exact Hindu practices were entirely twisted, and they were for those very reasons attacked and targeted. And even we have seen in the media how they tried to show as if the sacred ritual, the sacred intense tapas of Pancha tapas that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism started after 53 days in prison. After he started that in the media, how they ridiculed, spread so much of hate speech, spread so many lies about one simple penance that he was doing. And many people do not know that why he was doing this Panchatapas in Adi Kailash Sarvignapitam was in order to heal all of the victims of the anti-Hindu militant forces who had undergone so much of assault, rape, sexual abuse in different forms when the raids and attacks happened in 2010 in the Adinam. And however, on the outside, what they were showing is as if yet another criminal activity was going on. And they just spread these lies and hate speech in the media to continue trying their relentless persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the revival of Sanatana Hindu Dharma that he was successfully up until that point doing. And all of these attacks had put so much of strain, entirely diverted the resources of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, of this grand revival, from spreading, enriching more and more people across the world into trying to constantly defend ourselves. Just like in the Somanath temple in hundreds of years ago, how 17 times Mughal invasions had destroyed the temple. Every single time we rebuilt and we reconstructed again, yet again, it was destroyed. In the same way, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism continuously spent time in rebuilding, spent time in trying to build up the infrastructure. They would again and again deploy attacks, deploy different kinds of attacks, and distract the resources, all of the attention, all the energy, the power, the resources into trying to reconstruct, trying to rebuild the work that he has done already, instead of enriching and expanding. In 2012, we saw another brutal attack against the Adinam, which actually escalated into never before seen acts again that were executed by even state-sponsored elements that was entirely unprecedented and was shocking to the point that they would publicly announce such illegal acts. And foremost was how the CM of Karnataka had announced that they were going to seize the entire Adinam, the Adi Kailasha Sarvignapitam, and they were not. And this was, first of all, an entirely illegal act that they were doing. And after that, they had sealed the entire Adinam, and where even all of the doors and the rooms and everything were locked. The Adinavasis were not able to even do even their basic worship every day, not able to congregate in larger gatherings. And in so many different ways, the state-sponsored elements and the anti-Hindu militant forces had worked together to continue oppressing all of the Kailashians inside of Adi Kailash. And the raids that happened in this time were escalated. So many of the administrators of Adi Kailash were even hospitalized and had to undergo surgical procedures for healing from the attacks. Not only that, we had seen so many different brutal violence executed against the women sannyasis of Adi Kailash. as we see over the years, in 2010, in 2012, in 2014, even 2017, in every single year, some form or another, there have been attacks filed against the Adi Kailasha Sarvagnapeetham. And as you can see here, one of the media personnel, a disguised media personnel, trying to attempt a direct assassination attempt against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in Adi Kailasha Sarvagnapeetham. And immediately after this, after distracting the attention away from the everyone by creating chaos and trying to directly breach the security of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and attempt to eliminate, assassinate him, a huge deploy of an army of people, henchmen, had jumped over the gates and raided the Adinam and literally destroyed so many properties. And after that had ensued a series of attacks against the monastery, against the Adi Kailash Sarvagnapeetham, against the monks, and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself. As we can see, in this way, the Adi Kailash Sarvagnapeetham had undergone the worst of the attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. It's the very palace and the very residence of the Supreme Pontiff of himself. And in this way, we have seen how, as an example of all of the heritage destruction that they have done for the last 1,000 years, it has literally escalated and been shown here as an example as what has happened against the Adi Kailasha Sarvagnapeetham. This ultimately is a reason why we really need to share the untold story of the Hindu Holocaust, because continuously these attacks have been happening, as Ma Pranapriya had just shared, even until this year in 2021, a attempt to start bio warfare against the Adi Kailash, the Kailashians in Adi Kailash was deployed against the Adinam. And we have seen so many different attacks like this happen again and again. I request all the viewers, take a few minutes right now and please share the UN report where the UN has finally recognized the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And with more and more people who are voicing out and sharing this news and sharing the reality of what's happening with Hindus all over the world, we have more and more of a chance to ensure that the Hindu Holocaust finally ends and we revive the ancient Hindu civilization. This brings us to a conclusion of today's segment on the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Please join us for the subsequent segments as we are observing the Hindu Holocaust Persecution the Hindu Persecution Awareness Month in the month of July. And in the next segments, we'll be continuing to present to you exactly the happenings of everything going on inside of the Adinam and the untold story of the Hindu Holocaust. With this, we'll now move forward with the next segment in today's program, the power manifestation and Kailasa courtyard session. Thank you. We'll now be ending with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sarvam Bhagavantam Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Charan Kamalebhyo Namaha. Thank you, Nithyanandam.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Jnanapadati Manual under the guidance of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. Let's start with the Sadguru Vandanam. Nithyanandam Paramasukhanam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadusham Tattamasyadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Let's go through the disclaimers. Security measures. No photography, video, audio recording. Important cautions. Please be aware of the important cautions. What is power manifestation? Let's hear from Bhagavan himself explaining what is power manifestation.
all the 25 states of consciousness, when they happen in you, due to your chemicals and hormones ups and downs, it is powerlessness. When it happens in you out of your free will and consciousness, it is powerfulness. That's all. When you fall into sleep, it is powerlessness. When you enter into sleep, it is powerfulness. When you fall into dream, it is powerlessness. When you decide to dream, it is powerfulness. So I have added the ultimate powerfulness, Turyatita, in your whole being and doing. Manifest all the powers. Understand, power manifestation is nothing but cognitive shift. It is not work. It is cognitive shift. Understand? It is just cognitive shift. It's not work. Work is a 4-letter word. Power manifestation is cognitive shift, playing with life, playing with being alive.
Beautifully, Bhagwan said, what is power manifestation? Power manifestation is becoming alive, the cognitive shift in you that you are not just the matter, you are also consciousness. You are Paramashiva, the very existence, the very core who you are, comes to alive as manifestation. This is a science. That's why it is repeatable. It is doable for each and every person. Every human can have a conscious breakthrough in the humanity. Science of power manifestation is supported by the pramanas, the evidences, the Shastra pramana, the scriptural references, the eternal unchangeable truth revealed in the source scriptures, the Vedas and the Agamas. Apta pramana, the experience and the results of the Aptas, the Rishis, Munis, Ganas, Nayanama, Alvar, Siddhas, all of them are authority of Hinduism, manifesting all the powers of Paramashiva. Atma pramana, the experience, the account of His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, the millennium's avatars, experience, personal experience of each power manifestation, Bhagavan's very own Leelas. Bhagavan himself has manifested all the powers of Paramashiva as per the Shastra and as per the Apta Pramana, the Shakshi Pramana. Experience of the millions of disciple devotees, followers all around the world initiated by Bhagavan into the science of power manifestation. Bhagavan has beautifully said, whoever comes to the Kailash courtyard, I myself, the presence can be experienced and manifest as powers. Pratyaksha Pramana, the scientific study measuring the effect of being in the enlightened state. Again and again, he brings us to the conscious space to make us understand that we are consciousness. And more we start engaging ourselves as consciousness instead of engaging with our fear and greed. We are in the enlightened state and that becomes our reality. Bhagavan has beautifully given us all message right now to do Achapa Japa and manifest all the powers of Paramashiva. Just now, all of us have received a great blessing for manifesting powers, and this is the perfect time to manifest powers of Paramashiva. So beautiful. Now, let's go to the Shastra Pramana. The Shastra Pramana are from the Shiva Sutra, Sutra 1.15. This is for the power of mind reading, scriptural reference for the power of mind reading. So beautiful. Bhagavan gives us a powerful.
The Shiva Sutra, Sutra 1.15. Hridaye chitta samghatad drishyaswapadarsanam. Hridaye chitta samghatad drishyaswapadarsanam.
Bhagavan Paramashiva says, within the individual mind is united into the core of consciousness. Every observer or objective phenomenon, even the absence of every objective phenomenon, is directly experienced as a form of consciousness and appears in its existential reality as it is. Bhagavan Paramashiva beautifully says, either we are observing the object itself, or the process of observing. All three together is nothing but consciousness, manifested as matter, as reality for us. Again and again, the very source who we are starts experiencing the reality. When we understand we are in the deep sleep, we are in the dream state, We are consciousness. The mind is a processor. It puts us into the deep sleep. It puts us into the space of a dream and wakes us up in the morning. The very space can put us into the consciousness and show us that these whatever we are experiencing is a bigger dream that we are dreaming in. And the way we perceive the reality is not the way the reality exists. Everything that exists is a Brahman consciousness, the pure space of oneness. How the pure space of sound, when you don't have verbalization, visualization, like the mantra. Same way, the pure space of manifestation, the consciousness, the Paramashiva space is the very essence how we exist. We can manifest as matter. We can manifest as a reality, a consciousness. It is up to us to perceive it, how we want to manifest. Simply by the oneness of Paramashiva, we can experience the higher signs. And how does it happen? Bhagavan beautifully says how we can merge into oneness. How, when we are wearing the shoe and the shoe fits, we forget the leg. When we wear a crown, when the crown fits, we forget the head. Same way, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, when he saw two fishermen, he was so much engrossed in the oneness that one fisherman hit the other fisherman. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa cries and they see a big mark at the back of him and such a big wound created. Even a blade of grass is cut and somebody stamps on it. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he used to shout in pain. The oneness that he experienced was phenomenal, that how he forgot that existence of his body. He literally became what he saw as the reality, merged into oneness and simply manifested the higher reality. He says how beautiful to Bharata Samaj, Bhakta Samaj, head, Keshav, he said how the formless, he was talking only about the formless, how the formless takes a form. He gave an example of how the water can simply become the ice when you are making it solidified in a shape, in a possibility. Same way, if you solidify your space of oneness with Paramashiva, you can materialize anything into reality. That is the power of oneness. Tukaram saint was the greatest saint of his times. Shivaji was the greatest success and the greatest warrior because he had an enlightened master to guide him. Tukaram always guided him to the ultimate space. Once Shivaji was supposed to be killed and all of them surrendered him in Panduranga temple where Shivaji was chanting. And Tukaram said, don't move, don't go anywhere, just keep chanting. Like how Bhagavan has given now. Continue chanting and you will manifest your auspiciousness and conscious sovereignty. And the same way, Shivaji was sitting and he was chanting and he did not move. All the enemies got together and wanted to kill him. They came inside. Everybody they saw was Shivaji. And suddenly they saw the Panduranga actually as Shivaji runs out of the Garbha Mandir and they chase him. Can they chase Bhagavan? And they chase him and try to kill him. He became multiple and killed everybody. And all the enemies also are gone. And he got the message, Shivaji got the message, not only he's safe, but all the enemies are also killed and completely destroyed. Panduranga takes care of anything, any form, any way, any possibility to manifest our reality. When we forget ourselves and merge into the oneness space, anything is possible when you merge into the oneness with Paramashiva. The Paramashiva in your space is quantum and it is greater than the nuclear power. Bhagavan says you can manifest any reality, any auspiciousness. Now let's go to Apta Pramana. Apta Pramana, how Adi Shankaracharya, he scanned his mother's last wish that she wanted to see Narayana in Vaikunta Loka before she dies. And he grants the wish and she gets the darshan of Narayana.
and then she leaves her body. Beautifully, this is given in the Shankara's official website. All these great truths that Bhagavan is giving us again and again, how we can merge into oneness when we are in deep love and romance with our Guru, surrendering ourselves and merging into the higher space of reality, much beyond the words and the forms that we understand as love or even merging, just becoming oneness with the ultimate. Bhagavan beautifully explains that.
The feeling of what can I give was such a beautiful connecting.
In saint named Kannappar, it's a very beautiful story. That saint, he sees a Shivalinga in a place called Kalahasti in Andhra Pradesh, and he just falls in love with the deity. He's just in love with the deity, with Shiva. And the story says Shiva wanted to test his devotion, and in the Shivalinga, the eye was carved. From the eye, the blood started oozing out. This Kannappar tried all the herbal medicines and everything to heal the eyes. Nothing worked out. He's a hunter, so he knows only one method: eye for eye will heal the eye. So he just removes his own eye and replaces it the place of Shiva's eye. The story says the first eye bleeding stopped, and immediately within a few minutes the next eye started bleeding, and he is not bothered. He was ready to give even the second eye. But before taking his second eye, he suddenly remembered, if I take my second eye, I'll become blind. How will I find out where to fix the eye? Where the Shiva's eye is there. So he puts his leg on the second eye of Shiva as a mark. Then he removes his second eye to fix on the Shiva's eye. At that moment, Shiva appears and gives darshan and gives him enlightenment and Shiva Padavi. Shiva's Ayujya, we call it, means becoming one with Shiva. Very beautiful story. The love became meditation. That love for Shiva, whole day he was living in meditation. That is why he just feels, what can I give, what can I give, what can I give? I can understand that Kannappa's feeling, because I went through that same feeling with Arunagiri Yogeshwara. It was such a strong experience.
Beautifully.
The deep love simply becomes meditation. And real meditation just becomes love in you.
Beautifully, Bhagavan gives us such great space of manifesting powers. Here in Shakshi Pramana, the devotees clearly describe how the mind reading happened and how they manifested the powers of Paramashiva. Beautifully explained. Now let's go to the guidelines and set up your video camera on your cell phone so that you can record the whole thing, or you can take a picture. If you have Jnananjan in your Kantamala, apply in your third eye and your temples. If you have a partner, that will be wonderful. So because you're going to scan their mind, do a mind reading of their likes and dislikes. What is that likes and dislikes? The engagement of their incompletions and the completions. Basically, whatever they are engaged. And all these are the ones which are little screens. When we open that, and simply Paramashiva can flow through you, so beautiful. Bhagavan says, collective integrity is when you complete others with the powers of 4 tattva. You are complete in you and you expand in the higher consciousness. So clearly, Bhagavan has given a beautiful space for us to manifest the higher signs. By manifesting others' reality, they are finding out their likes and dislikes, scanning them. You can experience the oneness with yourself much deeper and much stronger. So write down whatever Paramashiva shows you and tell the partner at the end of the cycle how Paramashiva has shown and what are the things they can complete and drop it. Completely dropping yourself and merging into the Paramashiva space in deep love and deep romance with Paramashiva in you. That is what is the ultimate oneness which can manifest as an ultimate reality. Now let's go to the meditation. Let's sit straight with the head, neck and spine in a straight line. Bring the awareness to your third eye. Again and again remembering Paramashiva, Parashakti as yourself. For this class, no, do not allow thinking or your identity. Tell them to stay away from here. No gadgets, no thinking, no identity, all of them out of the door. Only Paramashiva, Parashakti manifesting as a reality. With 25 heads and 75 eyes and 50 hands, continuously holding that oneness space and making the whole space auspiciousness and abundance. Just let Parashakti flow through you, and only thing you experience is Parashakti, even forgetting who you are. Just merge into the Parashakti space, entangling with her, absolute unclutching from everything, doing the Achapa Chapa intensely. Bhagavan himself has given the blessing in the social media right now that whoever does the beautiful Achapa Achapa, they will manifest conscious in sovereignty. So beautiful, all of us can feel that right now. So let's entangle with Bhagwan in the quantum space. That whole samadhi space gets reflected in us when we watch the oneness capsule. When you have the bhava of Para Shakti, you forget who you are, only manifesting the ultimate truth. And so beautiful, Bhagavan has given all the powers of Paramashiva and auspiciousness and abundance. Holding that as your only cognition that I am manifesting all the auspiciousness and abundance. And whatever is revealed from that space, just write it down. Chant the Mahavakya intensely with a listening. 50% chanting, 50% listening. And raise your frequency in merging with Paramashiva. All these things can make you just disappear the space of Paramashiva and manifest all the auspiciousness for you and others around you. Let's start intensely getting into the meditation and chanting the Mahavakya deeply.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes.
Let the Amrita pour. Let the Varni open up. Manifest in all of us.
Paramashivoham, 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 Paramashivoham.
Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eye. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
So beautiful. Whatever you have experienced as your reality by chanting the Mahavakya, please make sure authentically you verify the details, and whatever prasada that you have received, 5 things to 10 things are correct, then you have manifested the powers of Paramashiva. If you just experience the Kundalini or just 1 or 2 is correct, that's good. You started manifesting, start celebrating the manifestation, you will start manifesting more powers. How when we are small, we are very clear that we will walk, we will talk, we will do everything. Same way, Paramashiva is real. Consciousness is the way of existence beyond the birth and death cycle, and each of us can experience that, and that is what Bhagavan has come down to make us understand. If we understand the higher science, how we exist as consciousness, as Paramashiva, the quantum space, how the quantum energy works, it can manifest anywhere, it can become 2, it can appear anything that in our dream pretty much works like a quantum. Same way, all of us can create the dream in our reality if we understand that we are consciousness who's creating this body and who's creating all the things around us, and whatever we perceive in our reality is also part of that. And that is why Bhagavan says, if you take the responsibility, you will understand the higher science, higher reality, who you are. Like somebody tells you, you are the princess, you are the prince, and you take the responsibility, you can manifest what you want. That is exactly how responsibility in life, for whatever happens in your life, as you are responsible. When you take that, you understand that whole thing that exists is nothing but your projection. Why did you project? How did you project? We don't have any answer, but you have projected unconsciously, consciously, whatever, but you have projected it. So, taking that responsibility, you can stop projecting what you're projecting and create a higher consciousness just to merge in Paramashiva, just to reside at his lotus feet. So, let's start chanting the Mahavakya and scan for the likes and dislikes of others, doing a mind reading, removing all their engagement in anything other than Paramashiva also removes in us all the incompletion. It is easy to see in somebody's plate what it is than ours. So, same way, we are more clear that when we clear their plate, actually it is our plate also. So we understand that higher science, how it exists. So let's start chanting the Mahavakya. Sit straight, put away your gadgets, put away your thoughts, and just be in the oneness with Paramashiva. Let him manifest all the auspiciousness and abundance in you. Let's start chanting the Mahavakya for the power of mind reading.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Paramashivoham, Paramashivoham,
Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varani open up. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Paramashivoham, Paramashivoham,
Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varani open up, manifest in all of us.
Paramashivoham, 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 Paramashivoham,
Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Paramashivoham, Paramashivoham,
Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varani open up, manifest in all of us.
Paramashivoham, 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 Paramashivoham,
Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eye. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
So beautifully, we have experienced the oneness with Paramashiva. Whatever prasada you have received, please share it in tinyurl.com/powermanifestation. Again, when you chant the Mahavakya and experience the oneness and the powerful cognition and all that Bhagavan is showering on you, auspiciousness and abundance, please take 5 minutes to share for it to become existential reality. All that has to become reality in you is by sharing in your social media and tagging to your friends and family. They are the ones who are the reflection of you. When you solve their problems, they simply manifest your reality. So, with that, let's thank Bhagwan for all the greatest truth, powerful cognition, and power manifestation for us. Let's surrender all this to Bhagwan's lotus feet and in deep gratitude and earning, ask Bhagwan to manifest Paramashiva as your existential reality. So, with that, let's thank Bhagwan and end the session with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavate Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam Paduka Arpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Thank you so much. See you again after the next satsang. Sorry, the YouTube had technical difficulties, so we are doing it on the Facebook. We'll be back on the YouTube soon. Thank you, Nithyanandam. Thank you, Nithyanandam.